Behavioral strategies are a critical key component when it comes to securing the sales. In this video, we profile the different scenarios in which we have to use behavioral strategies in our optometric practice. And the title of this video is basically, how do we go about securing the sale? And so let's look at various examples. Remember, throughout this whole optometric staff training, we're always making reference to patient, customer, and client. And so we start off with the patient. You can actually do a block again. I love blocks. I love thinking in blocks because it puts things into perspective. So block one or column one, right? Consumer type, and then patient, and then under it, right? Single vision, then bifocal, then multifocal, right? We look at the approach to securing the sale in a four-part approach. The first part is the ideal management. The next column, the acceptable solution. Then the third and the fourth column is it a medical aid patient? Is it a medical aid individual or patient or a private individual? And so what is our approach? From the onset, when a person is filling in patient information forms and we're asking them questions pertaining to why they're making their eye appointment, what's wrong with their vision, or when you're doing pre-screening tests, a lot of practices, the pre-screening tests are done by the staff members and not the optometrist because there's a pre-screening room, right? And so what happens is a person comes and says, I sit in front of the computer the whole day and I think it's got a problem with my eyes, and so that's why I want to have my eyes checked just to see if everything is okay. When you start hearing that from a patient, when you start communicating with regards to what's going to happen going forward, you already include the ideal management solution. So you need to be saying, sir, fantastic. As we examine your eyes, this is what's going to be done. The optometrist is going to ask you a wide range of questions pertaining to your visual health. We're doing a whole lot of screening tests right now that are determining a pre-diagnosis. And the optometrist will then perform more tests that are going to lead to the final diagnosis. And along with your questions that he's asking, the question that he's asking you or she's asking you, and the answers that you're giving, the results will then come up with the final diagnosis. And based on what you're saying, that you've got this problem with glare and light, right? What would be the ideal situation for you is that understand that there's different types of spectacles with spectacle lens coatings on it. And so just by looking at the pre-screening here, this is what this screening means. So you remember the patient has never worn glasses before. So you're educating them already with the pre-screening results, and you're saying, sir, based on this results, this is what this information is telling us pertaining to your eye. Your problem is as follows. And then you can already see this person needs a pair of spectacles. Don't mention the most basic anti-reflective coating. The ideal management is for you to be mentioning best coating, best material, best tints that are available, and probe them more in terms of, so this is the coating that we're recommending for you, that the optometrist will most likely recommend for you, because one thing about people that have always been coming into our practice complaining about what you're complaining is that this coating is what we would normally give them. The reason why we would best prescribe this coating is because the benefits and the clinical features of this product are as follows. Remember, in your practice, you would have been working with a particular lens supplier, and you will already know that these are the most common lens coatings that we are using from a particular lens supplier that the practice uses or works with on a day-to-day basis. So introduce the premium product, not the basic product, because at that stage, you're not talking pricing, you're talking solutions. Introduce best solutions to that individual. Mention the name of the product that you would indicate. So that's the baseline. You're creating a foundation. You're laying that foundation so that when they go in with the optometrist, you've indicated on the file that, hey, patient complained of this to us, and this is what we are mentioned as a potential or possible product. It says the best there. Optometrist will reiterate that in the examination room if it is indeed a potential solution. But because you started at the high end or the premium product, even if that is not the product that the person goes for, it's easier to work your way down versus having starting at the low base and having to work your way up. So what we mean by ideal management with regards to spectacles, always communicate the best lens materials, best coatings, best tints. When you do contact lenses, if dailies are better than monthlies, you're mentioning the dailies. You're not saying the monthlies. You're starting the patient off on the dailies. When you're talking about the sunglasses, you're making reference to polarized lenses as opposed to a standardized fixed tint. So that's your ideal management. If this is now post-examination and it's an affordability issue, and now you have to downgrade, you then come into the acceptable solution. And then with regards spectacle lenses, it's best coatings, best material, best tints. Contact lenses, perhaps that's where, if you have introduced contact lenses as a management solution, it's instead of single vision, dailies, you're probably going to be talking monthlies. That's the least then that you can do. And with regards to your prescription tints, you perhaps not talking polarized lenses, perhaps you're only talking fixed tints or transitions. But you are always starting with the best, and when you're cutting off, you're not cutting off on the key component, and the key component is the main spectacle solution that you are recommending. You see, we only cut or downgraded on the contact lenses and the prescription sunglasses, not on the main pair of spectacles. The medical aid option then is where the challenges might come, where obviously then now you're forced into a corner where you have to stick to the benefits. But even if that is the case, you still have the responsibility of demonstrating the quality of lens materials. Contact lenses, you want them to get contact lenses and spectacles, get them trials for experience and suggest opportunities for having a set of dailies for them. So even if they're going with the medical aid option, you still have a responsibility of ensuring that you are communicating what they actually should be getting. What is the ideal management solution that you are recommending for them based on the problems that they have, even if they can't afford it. You're still having to communicate that. And you indicate on the file that patient came in, this is what the problem was, this is what we recommended, but this is what the patient took. Then you summarize it at the bottom to say, next time patient comes, remember to pick up the conversation from what they were supposed to get. And how was the experience with what they got? And did it actually solve their problem? Most probably it didn't. So it creates an opportunity for you to what? Upgrade the patient now to that which they are supposed to get. So the second time they come in, at least now they are in a position to make an informed decision because they were prepared for that, as compared to when they were coming in the first time as a patient, as a first-time wearer. You now had to do it that way. But if you don't introduce the right ideal products and so management solutions to patients, and you start them off with incorrect products and solutions, it's difficult to upgrade them at a later stage. So start them right, they will continue using the right products going forward. And if it's a private patient, this is the last column now, always demonstrate and clearly demonstrate the difference between what they need versus what they can afford. Never compromise on the quality of the lens. Never, 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 never. And so even if the person cannot afford something, you still make sure that you have effectively, adequately communicated what they were supposed to get. That they agree that they're not getting what they're supposed to be getting. They understand that you are giving them something that fits into their budget, but not something that solves their problem. That for them to have their problem adequately solved, they need this product. So even if they're coming next time, at least then you have set the foundation that, hey, next time I come, I now know that I'm supposed to get this product because I couldn't afford it last time. But you've educated them well enough on their vision. And so in your conversation, even with the example that I've communicated now, we're not talking about pricing. You're not sounding like you're sales pitching them. You are just effectively communicating what they need based on the problem that has been identified based on the diagnosis, and this is the possible management solutions. And so same applies with multifocal lens wearers. You will still do the same thing just with multifocals. And when we look at the example of a customer, ideal management, single vision, upgrade to better lens materials and frames, introduce them to contact lenses if they had not worn contact lenses before, but you can see that, wait a minute, we can actually have this person getting a pair of contact lenses. or introduce them to a second pair of glasses if they didn't have that second pair of glasses. One of the things that you can do that's also very important is perhaps last time they got 2 pairs of glasses as a customer, right? They got a pair of glasses. On the main pair, they put all the necessary tints and coatings that were giving them the adequate vision that they wanted. But on the second pair, they didn't put the necessary coatings on it. Probe them and ask, how often did you wear both pairs? Well, I actually interchanged. At home, I wore this. At work, I wore this. Do you find that there's a difference in your vision when you're wearing this pair versus with this pair? Yes, this one has got the coat, and obviously I see better with the one with the coating versus this one without the coating. So why would you want to have moments of your visual environment where you're not seeing the best possible way? Yeah, you're actually right. I didn't think about that. Do you then say you're going to wear comfortable shoes at work and uncomfortable shoes at home? It makes no sense. And so, sir, your vision is more important than your shoes or your feet. So let's get you the right product. So you're looking for the upgrade potential on that second pair that they were going to get anyway, making sure that the lenses are the same on both pairs. You always want to look for the upgrade potential. And so the next acceptable solution with regards to a single vision customer is prescribe exactly what they had before with introduction to better lens materials and frames. The medical aid option, you're staying within the benefits, but again, you're demonstrating the benefits and the difference in lens materials. And the private, the same deal as last time with the introduction of what? New materials. So what am I trying to say? Every time you're communicating with your customer, with your patient, you're always introducing better, making sure that you're communicating ideal management solution. Next best scenario then is the acceptable solution. Next best scenario will be sticking with the medical aid, but still ensuring that you have demonstrated what they need. And if it's the private individual, the key there is what will be the value of if they go with what you're recommending versus what will they be gaining if they don't, or what will be what they're gaining if they go with what you're recommending versus what will they be losing if they don't. And so you're communicating value all the time with that scenario. Whereas with the client, you're rolling up the VIP treatment. You know what their needs and desires are. You know what their affordability is by now. You remember they come back regularly to the practice. And so you know how to communicate with them. It's very, very important. You're structuring deals and specials that are best suited for them so that they can keep buying. Because remember, they will buy at regular intervals. You are exceeding the expectations all the time. You're never taking them for granted that they will always be a client. You're advising them on constant information pertaining to advancements in new technology. And you're constantly building and strengthening that relationship. And so that's how you go about securing the sale with regards the patient. And you're looking at the ideal management solution, acceptable management solution, and then looking at is it a medical aid patient or a private patient. And that's basically how you go about that approach with regards to securing the sale.